Hey, and welcome to the review of the weekend's boxing action with me. And yeah, let me point the wrong way so it points the right way on the screen. Our good friend and pro am boxer, sugar free Luke Byrne. Looking well, Luke. You're losing the pounds. That's all good to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any word on a fight date?
Hoping for the 8th of July up in Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Aye, surely. I'll have a
So,
pair share on the way. And
so
don't be like Nadine Coyle now. Don't forget your date of birth.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so preview the weekend's action with you guys. Now, you got all the fights right. You got one decision wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but everything else you got right. So props to you guys. And of course, I said, oh, I'd have got that score. I'd got that decision right, but of course, I'd have got majority of the ones probably not right. But it doesn't matter. All that matters is there was some great action, and where the action was in the Far East, in the land of the rising sun. And for me, it's the home of boxing right now. It's where everything is happening. It's not just talked about like we have in the US or mutton dressed as lamb as we have in the UK, in my opinion. No, don't shoot me.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
shoot me for what? Go shout into a cave. That's my expression. If you disagree with me, go shout into a cave. But Jesus, that Japan card, it was well worth finding. And how
Japan,
Sky didn't pick that up, I'll never know.
Japan is the best boxing country in the world, bar none.
And I think as well, it's the Japan sense of decency and honor as well
Mm-hmm.
that lends itself to just good boxing.
Well,
Like
they call boxing the gentleman's sport, and it
mm,
certainly is over in Japan. There's no BS over there. The crowd are respectful, the
oh
fighters are respectful to one another. There's no such thing as trash talk.
mm,
You know, just the best fighting the best, and it's so
yeah,
exciting to watch.
it's brilliant. And like you guys kind of got me onto the Japanese scene. And well, it was the Inoue was the first thing
Yeah, yeah.
on that wonderful competition, the World Boxing Super Series, and then just
Hot fire.
Inoue grew, and then you guys were telling me about other boxers, and I just watched them, and it's just brilliant, and especially because I prefer the lower weights because it's
Mm-hmm.
more skillful. I
Yeah,
mean, that's what you're going to get by just natural selection in
absolutely.
Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
you know. But my God, their skill level is just through the roof, like, and the ferociousness of their punches as well.
They
It's
don't.
not tippy tappy crap; it is vicious.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you make of the card then in Japan?
Yeah, excellent. I had to catch up on the Nakatani fight. I missed that because of
Mm,
work, but I caught the
mm,
Inui fight live because it just matched up with my break, so that was great.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
no, no, I was very impressed with both of them now, and yeah,
yeah, look,
Nakatani, I
Nakatani
think, is just going to
he did
launch
what
himself.
Nakatani was. He knocks you out with that, with that left hand,
Hmm.
and his opponent Santiago was very brave. Got up, and he tried to fight back. He tried to fight fire with fire once he was hurt, but Nakatani's a technician.
Oh,
He measures.
absolutely.
He's like he's like a little southpaw Tommy Hearns almost. You know,
Mm,
with how he throws his punches.
yeah.
I think he's very very skillful. He's a pound for pound talent in my eyes.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. They're pushing for me, and I had this argument about, why does the Ring magazine 6 out of 10 fighters are US? Like the
mhm.
US is not the home of boxing anymore.
It's not deep enough compared
You
to
know,
Japan.
like they're throwing in names of people that talk about fighting each other but haven't fought anyone of note
Yeah,
in ages. I'm sorry, for me that doesn't keep you on a current pound for pound list. You
no,
know, you got to
um,
be active and you got to be fighting, and
yeah,
that's what they're
and
doing. That's what
you
these guys are
see in Japan, like they're Japan, as you were talking about the other week, is such a highly populated, densely populated country.
doing.
So they've got the support, they've got the money, they've got the tickets selling. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
uh,
and
so
Japanese people, it's a wealthy nation as well.
it is.
It's up there with Norway in terms of your disposable income. You
They
know,
get behind their own, and Nakatani now. I think he's going to explode on the world scene. The viral,
absolutely.
viral knockout last year. this year already, he's got a fantastic stoppage. You know, he'll probably fight again within another 2 or 3 months.
And can you see him fighting Inoue?
I can see him fighting Bam Rodriguez before he fights Inoue.
Well, yeah.
Just
Bam
due
was
to-
one. Inoue was penciled in for as well, but Bam
Mhm.
obviously had the reversal that he needs to
Yes.
rectify first. You know, that kind of put a halt to his gallop. But you know, it's so amazing. You know, and even the other Inoue. I mean, he was brilliant as well.
He
Like,
was excellent, and I didn't have him down for the stoppage.
no,
But that right hand to the body was a sickener.
oh, absolutely.
Right,
and I mean,
right.
body shots. I mean,
No, right red basket, and
mm,
those ones. Now, look, I always say with the liver shot, you don't get up from those. Some people do miraculously, but with those shots in the solar plexus or the bread basket, as they call it in America,
mm.
like they're hard to get up. They sicken you. Do you know?
Oh, absolutely. Well, they do because they squish your stomach, and your stomach's where all the food is in your large intestine.
The wind,
So
they
they
take
literally will sicken you. You know.
And again, you know, his opponent bravely, Ancajas bravely tried. You could see him trying to get up and carry on. But he just couldn't. Now I thought it was going to go the distance. Now I did have Ancajas up at the time of the stoppage, mind you. He was doing very well.
He was doing well, but I mean, it's like Lee Wood, you know. People, but the whole reason of boxing is number one, knockout, stoppage, end the fight.
Like he was winning the battle, but he didn't win the war.
Exactly. I mean, you know, and the long game, and especially, you know, Japanese fighters, they're well prepared for the long game, you know.
Oh, they're very fit.
Okay, Inoue doesn't have very many long games, but that's because the opponents just aren't good enough, you know. But by God, they are.
This Inoue, you know, he could be a rising star too. I say rising star, he's a world champion. But
yeah, I mean, and he's actually, they're brothers. I never realized that.
Yeah,
they're actually brothers.
Right. So, you know, the dad.
Boxing family.
Dad,
because Inoue was in his corner as well, and it was cool.
Right.
You know, at the end. Yeah, no,
but,
I just loved it.
Amazing camp. And I was only saying to Adam the other week, isn't it a shame we don't have like a light heavyweight Japanese fighter who can fight like them?
Unfortunately, you know, it's like I was saying with Tommy, you know, Irish UK tends to sit around middleweight, super middleweight, and then higher up was more kind of, you know, American and larger
Eastern European
fighters like that. Whereas obviously the lighter weights are going to be dominated by East Asia because you know they're naturally smaller and very much lighter.
But I think you know, with these smaller weights, it's great that they can punch because usually you need the heavier guys to catch the imagination.
Oh, absolutely.
But these lads are getting the knockouts, and even with Nakatani the other day, he was wearing winning gloves, and they're usually pillow gloves. You know, they're usually very, very spongy and protective. So he's knocking lads out with them.
Yeah.
You know, he can really dig. He doesn't have to wear a pair of horsehair Clayton Reyes to knock you out.
Yeah.
No, so he can really dig.
No, but it's great. Like, I mean, and
I can't praise,
definitely.
I can't. You know,
Sorry?
I can't praise them enough. They're fantastic.
Oh no, they really are. Like, and the only thing about the Japanese card was it made the other cards very difficult to watch.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's like when you're trying to watch soccer after rugby or soccer after hurling or anything after hurling, really, except maybe boxing.
So exciting, yeah.
You just can't because it's got so pedestrian and slow. And usually in the UK, and this has been my gripe about the UK, the cards are so unbelievably one-sided. It's pathetic.
Well, you know, I don't know about the UK cards lately as well. They run very late. And I'm not trying to sound like an old man, but main event should not be happening at 11:30.
No, they shouldn't. They really shouldn't. But, you know, we've seen them try to pull it back earlier. And the good thing about things like the O2 and places like that is they have a curfew, you know.
Yeah.
But fighting at 11:30 at night, I mean, come on. The main event should really be entering the ring at 10 p.m., in my opinion.
Latest, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, and then have the fight over by 11 and then,
Agreed.
You know, on to wherever you're going, lads, afterwards. But this notion of, you know, 10 to midnight and the main event hasn't even started. And it's not as if it's been an action-packed card. It's been
and then there's loads of filler then in between fights.
More filler than a Findus lasagna, you know. I mean, fuck me. Like, it's,
no, there is, and it's you know, most of it's nonsense as well.
Oh, you know? Absolutely, you know.
But the
And it's
UK,
hard on the boxers as well because they're there waiting forever, you know.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
first guy was in at 4 o'clock and he's gone, and all his fans are
trying to
gone.
stay. You're trying to, as a fighter, I know myself. You're trying to stay warm. You're trying to
Mm.
be fresh, you know. And it's hard when you could be, oh yeah, you're fighting in half an hour. Oh no, sorry, it's an hour now. Do you know that's difficult on the boxers?
It
But,
really is, and you know, I mean, you think with something like DAZN, which was exclusively for boxing initially, that it would have kind of shaped itself more to, you know,
Yeah.
having the fights. And now I know obviously fights can end early, and that's
well,
different.
that's different, yeah.
But when fights are not ending early and there's still these huge gaps, what's that about?
Like,
you know?
even my dad, when we went to the Katie Taylor fight, because there was a big gap at the start of the show, he was saying, why not get local amateurs in to do exhibitions?
Do you know, can't. I'll tell you why, because you can't have amateurs boxing on pro cards in Ireland.
Even as an exhibition.
Even as an exhibition, same in the UK. So that's the reason for that. I actually know the answer to that, because how I know that is Darren Barker tried to do an amateur exhibition on a pro card, and he was just told, not Darren Barker, sorry, Tommy Coyle, same difference. But
yeah,
their fighting style is very similar, is what I mean. And they're both British, and they're both middleweight. They're very similar. Dig up ender. You know, so you just can't, unfortunately, have that.
Okay. It's a shame, isn't it? Because it would be so good for the local
yeah, but
talent.
I could see a pushback from the amateur boxers as well, because they don't want to be seen as feeding grounds, you know, and their best boxers being poached, as it were, to the pro game.
Yeah,
it's
something to, you know.
But they have to have a better way of doing it. You know, I mean, okay, have a floating.
I remember years ago at the Matthew Macklin card in the Tree Arena, and it was Declan Geraghty versus John O'Carroll, the best fight I've seen live, the best fight, and that was over 4 rounds, and it was at like 12:15 in the middle of the night with nobody there.
So that was the float that never floated.
Yeah, there was literally about 50 of us there, and I swear to God, it was the best fight I've seen live.
Well, even when you gave the names, it lends itself to being a very even contest. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it was excellent, and you know, and people miss that. You know, it's sad.
Yeah, but not everyone's as hardcore as you, Luke. You know,
well,
I mean,
that's true.
You were there from the very start to the very end. I mean,
yeah, I was there for a solid 8 hours. Yeah,
but
you
definitely get your money's worth when you go to a fight. That being said, I was there for the whole last Queensbury card, and I have to say, the young guys that were fighting at the start, you know, to see them was brilliant, because they really caught your eye. I mean,
yeah,
a few of them had such excellent punches, and I'm going to keep up with them, and I'm going to follow up.
And it's nice because you don't know how far they'll go.
Oh, but even if they don't go any far, you know, if they're entertaining, you'll tick that box and go, I want to see him again. Absolutely. If they're not entertaining, I'll just go, yeah, no, I'm not really bothered. I'll actually mark it. That can be my tea break, you know, or that can be my break or something, you know.
Did you catch the Liverpool card live?
No, I didn't. I'm trying to think. How did I miss the Liverpool card?
I only caught the main event now. I didn't watch the rest.
So how was the main event? I know the result.
It was as expected from myself, and Adam as well picked the same as me. Harris just had too much experience, too much guile.
Was it too early, do you think?
For Butler? Yeah, I think so. He jumped up there 3 or 4 levels, you know.
Yeah, and the opponent they picked, you know, I mean, but you could see it in Harris and all his social media. He was as proud as punch, you know, to have that.
Look, he's had a hard run the last few years. He's been the opponent for a few years now, and he's lost, and he's
but I mean, that was it. He was always the kind of the gatekeeper, as it were, and obviously the gate was slammed shut.
Well, what happened with Harris was he came up the level so quick, and then he jumped too high himself. And then he was steadily coming back down, and then it was all of a sudden, okay, British European title fight against a fella who's inexperienced, and it was just too much for Butler, too much too soon. Now Butler, he can't punch, and at that level you have to be able to punch to make a man respect you. Harris didn't respect him at all.
And you really have to be hurting your opponent. I mean, you know, it's not the amateur game. You're not going to get anywhere with light punching.
I'm not saying you have to KO him, but you have to make him respect.
No, but you have to hurt the guy. I mean, you know, like
It's
you
not.
know, I mean, if you look at the pro game and pro boxing, and if you look at it and you look how the very best boxers, they work
Mhm.
the body. I mean, you look
Yeah.
at Chris Smith against his opponent, even though he was losing, he knew, worked that rib cage,
Yeah.
and then bang, rib broken, game over, and Billum Smith wins, even though he's down on the card. But he
That's it.
won according to the
If
rules of
you
boxing.
if you can't make your opponent respect you, you've got to be damn good. Do you know, that's the top and bottom of it. You have to be so much more skillful than your opponent. If you like Paulie Malignaggi, lots of skills, couldn't punch, but he was able to make it work for him against certain opponents. But with Butler, he didn't have the skill to compensate for the lack of power, and Harris just swarmed all over him and won a fairly easy decision. Do you know?
And at that level as well, you know, you really need power. You know, at the British level, I always find, you know, power is the real, you know, differential that separates the men from the boys. Because without the power, the other guy's just going to come through you. Like he's not going to stop and, you know, you landed a punch. Isn't that lovely? It'll be like, didn't hurt.
100%.
You know, is that all you got? I'm going to fucking end you now. You know.
That's the attitude, and that's how it has to be. But good fight, and Jay Harris, I'm delighted for him because he's really
and he looked really good, and I have to say on all his socials over the weekend he looked absolutely chuffed, and I was delighted for him. So great news for him. And now we'll go to America, and obviously, you know, we'll talk about the main fight. It probably, I think we all kind of felt it was going to be a bridge too far for McCrory. I mean, his last fight, he fought McKenna, who was really not at the races at all. To then fight a potential world level opponent is a huge.
Yeah. And look, what I said about McCrory was he had a puncher's chance. And that was about it. And I think he knew that himself, the way he fought. But Berlanga, you know, from round one, Berlanga was gunning for that KO. You could see.
Oh yeah, because I mean, he did, like, Jay Quigley frustrated the hell out of him, and he upset the plans. And I mean, McCrory was there to be knocked out. You know, that's why Eddie Hearn picked him. And as soon as, you know, Berlanga won, Hearn was giving it the big one about, you know, Canelo. And the irony is, he could be fighting Canelo now because Canelo looks to have broken his contract with PBC.
He could be Canelo next,
according to Mike Hoppenberg. Well, I mean, if he's back on the zone, I have to say Berlanga has to be up there. You know, I mean, and Eddie would readily feed Berlanga to Canelo.
It'll probably be Munguia, but Berlanga could be it.
Well, Munguia would be a bigger seller, to be fair, and a better fight. Yeah, I think Berlanga's a bit over.
He's green. He's still green.
No, but he's overestimated. You know.
Yeah.
Like, he's not as good as he's been made out to be by. Well, obviously Eddie's going to spout shit, but too many people were saying Berlanga, you know, he's this great guy, and he really isn't. And Jay Quigley exposed that. You know.
The smart thing that Eddie Hearn has done as well, with bringing in Irish lads to fight him, people know worldwide an Irish man is going to come to fight.
Yeah.
You know?
But as well as that, if you fight in Boston or if you fight anywhere, you're going to have that Irish.
You're selling.
I mean, I know it was Orlando, and Orlando doesn't have a huge Irish contingent. But I was talking. I'm going to name drop now. But I was talking to Tommy Hyde there at the weekend, and like, he's fighting in San Francisco. People go, San Francisco. There's a huge Irish contingent in San Fran. You know what I mean?
We're everywhere.
I was there visiting, and like, he'd bring it. Like, I mean, and I mean, he's fighting on St. Patrick's Eve. I mean, you know, it's a Saturday. I mean, the amount of, if you're Irish and you're a boxer and you want to fight, that's the weekend to get it, because you 100%. Will get a fight anywhere, and it'll be great.
Shout out to Joe Ward as well. He's boxing in Madison Square Garden in March as well. You know, so that's gonna sell.
Yeah, well, I mean, Joe's a close neighbor of mine. You know, Moat is not far at all from where I live.
Down the road.
You know, and Joe has been great, and he was so unfortunate in his first pro fight. But if he builds it up, you know, he keeps it going, he'll get noticed, you know, and that's great. And so he's fighting in the Garden. Who's headlining that? There's an Irish guy headlining that, isn't there?
Geez, who is headlining that? I can't remember off the top of my head because I've only been looking at Joe's post about it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm trying to think because they did post about they were fighting in the garden at Patrick's Day, so I presume it's the same card.
I'd
But
imagine so.
anyway, sorry.
But yeah, like being Irish in America is a cheat code. You
Oh
know,
yeah, but I mean, like on the Irish diaspora love their boxing. I mean, and
yeah,
like Eddie Hearn knows how to sell things, and if he wants a crowd in Boston, you get an Irish contingent in Boston, and obviously, I mean, you've Berlinga, and he's got his diaspora with him.
mm-hmm.
So I mean,
yeah.
you know, it's a full house before you start.
Yeah,
It's a clever way to do things, and
Berlanga, he did what we expected him to do, didn't he?
oh yeah, like I mean, I don't think anyone was shocked from the result. I mean,
No.
you know, but McCrory is, as we all said, well, he'll come again. I mean, Jesus, it's a big jump from fighting McKenna in Belfast to fighting Berlanga in Orlando. You know, so I mean, he'll come again. I mean, there's boxing in Belfast is booming at the minute. I know. Kurt Walker, is it?
Kurt Walker, yeah.
Yeah, he's headlining a card in Belfast. I mean, and he's a guy I've earmarked now. He's a top talent. I mean, I know people talk about Andy Lee's guy from Limerick, Donovan, but I think I'd go with Kurt myself. I think Kurt is the much more accomplished boxer. But that being said, obviously Donovan is doing everything right. I mean, he's listening to Andy, and if you listen to Andy, you will get the results. Look at Joseph Parker.
It's like Tommy Hyde said though with your interview. You know, pro boxing is becoming a lot healthier on the island of Ireland.
Oh, it really is. Now, I know it had a setback with Regency, but I mean, even the one thing that did do is it pushed boxing outside of Dublin, and it kind of grew everywhere else, like fights in Cork and fights in Limerick. I mean, you know, I mean, and with Donegal, I mean,
the Letterkenny show.
Wrigley J had a huge card up in Donegal that sold out, and it was great crack, you know, and that's what you want. I mean, pro boxing, it's in its infancy in Ireland. I mean, it's not 25 years old,
growing, definitely.
But of course it's going, because like I said with Hammy about like all those faces on TikTok and that celeb boxing. Okay, you might like it, but it brings eyes to the sport. And then if you can say, if you think that's good, watch this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're not selling them a one-sided shit fight now. You're selling them a proper
like these like the Celtic title fights, Irish title fights. They're competitive. It's lads, undefeated lads usually, coming in against each other. Someone's up to go kind of thing. So it's excellent.
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's kind of like why I always like the British fights, British title fights. It's because it's normally two young guys just who is going to break through to the next level. Now, obviously, it's at a much lower degree in Ireland, but still, it's the same thing. It's two young guys who want to move forward. You know, the Celtic's kind of the first stepping stone, and you get through that, and then you go for the Irish one. And then if you're good, you can go for the British one, because Ireland can fight for the British title. I think anyone can, really, but it's not difficult for an Irish person to fight for the British title because, you know, the very nature of it. And, you know, there was no pro boxing in Ireland 25 years ago, so Irish pro boxers always fought for that. And, you know, I mean, we've had many wonderful Irish holders of the British title, and it's a great stepping stone then to move on to push your career even further, because you can fight the European titles, but the European and Commonwealth are kind of for people that don't quite get through the British level. For me, you know, it's a bit like the Celtic and the Irish one. It's like, yeah, you can win the Celtic one, but the Irish one's the more meaningful one. So even though Europe is larger than Britain, the Lonsdale belt for me holds far more.
Oh, it has a lot more weight, definitely.
Gravitas than the European Boxing Union, which is ironic because it's the same initials as my channel. But you know, that's the title to have, and you see the caliber of people who've held that title. And it's amazing, and I'm really looking forward. Actually, on speaking of all the fights, I'm going to St. Patrick's Eve, and I'm off to Birmingham, where I'm going to see
Nathan Heaney.
Nathan Heaney against sorry, I'm going to sneeze, against my guy from Cornwall, Uh,
Yeah, he was on the George Groves Boxing Club not long ago.
Nathan Heaney.
No, the Cornish guy.
Brad Pauls.
Yes, Brad Pauls. Yes.
Yes, I know his name. He's a really good guy, and he keeps name. I'm going to post statistics, and I'm like, they're going to be expensive, like. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that, and that's actually puncturing because I'm flying to London. But when that came on, I said I'm definitely going up to shout for Brad Pauls in Birmingham because
Brilliant.
it'll be a cauldron for poor Brad. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you know. But I think Brad, for me, is the better boxer, the better fighter. You know, I mean, the one thing Nathan Heaney has is heart. You know, he has got heart by the absolute gallon load. But I would.
Well, he's fought at a good level now. You know, against Bentley.
Yeah, but Bentley was very disappointing that night.
He was, but Heaney still had to perform. And
he did. I'm not taking that from him, but I expected more of Bentley. Sorry, is what I'm.
This is a proper British title fight. Like this is.
But that's why. And I mean, I know there's Irish guys on the undercard because I was saying it's St. Patrick's Eve. There has to be, and there is. Because obviously it's a Queensbury card, so they'll have a few on it there, and it's just going to be a cracker, and you know the atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric, and I kind of hope there's a good Cornish crowd there for Brad.
Hopefully.
You know, because the Stokies, I mean, Birmingham's not far from Stoke, and they'll travel anywhere as we saw. So the NEC is not going to be NICE for Brad. If
going to be a partisan crowd for sure.
Oh, yeah, but I think I might wear my Arsenal jersey.
What did you make of Andy Cruz?
I didn't see it, sorry, but I heard great things about it.
Yeah, look, he's amazingly skillful, and he put his punches together lovely. But I would like to see him. I don't think he was out of second gear.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him, like I said the other day, get that bit of spite between them and just finish lads because he definitely can.
So does he need a better level of opponent?
I think so, because he was just drifting through it, like very skillfully drifting through it now.
And Cruz will go into cruise control, no pun intended. But you know what I mean? Like he's the very man. You know, speaking of Tokyo Drift, he's the very man to just drift through.
Yeah, and you know he was the best fighter on that card. You know, by a mile. He's got world championship potential this year if he wants it.
Just on that, Luke, I'm going to interrupt you here because we've breaking news from our man in the north. Good evening, guys. Did any hear rumors about Tyrone McKenna versus Ricky Burns? That would be a fun fight. And Paddy McCrory versus Luke Keeler again.
McKenna coming out of retirement.
Jeez. Well, so would Rick Burns. Like, sure, Burns is well retired.
He boxed.
But
in the exhibition, what about a month ago?
It was. I think it's about 3 or 4 months ago now, and it wasn't great to be fair, but. Yeah, no, that would be a good fight. I mean, Phil is great and it's great crack and it's a festival atmosphere. I think it'd be good, and it'd be good for Paddy as well to.
I would definitely
launch his career.
Up to that, that'd be good.
That would be great fun.
And Paddy McCrory versus Luke Keeler, that's a hell of a fight too, because Keeler can fight.
Oh, Luke Keeler can fight. I mean, I remember him in the AMs when I was judging, and Keeler he was really a great shot.
He's boxing in Castlebar next month. There's a show on the 16th of March. I think it's the 16th of March in Castlebar.
Is that one of what's his name now? Mayo Man. Oh, is it his promotion?
No, I think it's Celtic Warrior show.
Oh, very good. Yeah, but no doubt.
Spike O'Sullivan's back out on it as well.
Oh, Spike is unretired. Jesus, Spike must be a fair age now.
What's his face? Cathal Crowley, who's also trained by Packy Collins, is fighting on it. So I think
it's kind of like a Packy Collins kind of show.
I think so. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think
no. But I mean, like, if it's the Celtic, whatever that is, Packy Collins' crew and the.
Were you on about Ray Moylett? Is that who you're thinking of?
That's who I was thinking of, Ray Moylett. There's a guy who is. That's the Irish equivalent of Sam Eggington, you know.
He could have gone very far if he would have just been managed a bit better.
I think, you know, he could have gone a little bit further, but not that much further. But he's never in a boring fight, you know.
Never.
And he's a great crowd favourite. And then Stephen says McCrory Keeler would be great. It really would. So
100%.
Stephen, I'll book in the B&B. I know you're in Tyrone, but I don't know how far that is from Belfast. It's probably easier to get home to Offaly, to be fair, actually. But yeah, no, we'll definitely have to go, because I actually would love to go to Fela in Belfast, you know, because it looks like a cracking atmosphere, you know.
100% it does.
And we could speak Irish all weekend.
There you go. But no, it was a good weekend of boxing, all things considered, thanks to the Tokyo card.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think the worst thing about Tokyo was it just spoiled me. Now I was like, oh, this isn't as good.
It was so much better than the rest of it, and it was.
You know, it's like watching League Two after watching the Champions League. It's like, no,
just not the same.
Just not the same, and even the Champions League isn't as authentic and as genuine as Japanese boxing, in my opinion. So yeah, no, thanks for that review. Yeah, we'll probably. I
should have stuck a bet on. What can we do?
Yeah, but if you'd have done that, you know what would have happened? One of them would have lost.
I know.
It's the butterfly effect, you see.
There you go.
But I was happy. I put money on Dan Sheehan to score the first try, fell asleep, woke up, and he'd scored a try.
There you go.
So I was happy. So I didn't put any more bets on. I said, just give me the 30 quid, and I had a lovely Sunday lunch with that.
Happy days.
Anyway, my belly definitely rules over my head any day of the week. Right, that's been brilliant. Probably closer to weekend, we'll have a review of the weekend's action and see, can you get them all right again? You know, and maybe even get every single
the results
too, because it was very close now. I mean, but yeah, I know, awesome. And shout out to Adam, who's off to see some god awful film in the cinema. Wasn't there a cinema?
Madam Web.
Madam Web, yeah. He should have gone to see All of Us Strangers.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah. Not sure you'd like it, but it's a good movie. Yeah, I really liked it, but you know, there's things in it. You know,
I like everything. So, you know.
Yeah. It's just, you know, it is an excellent movie, you know. I mean, and it's a movie that makes you think, and that's what I like, movies with layers and depth.
Absolutely.
Know? So it'll be on the streaming services shortly, so it'll be definitely all over your USB stick in a while anyway, your Fire Stick.
There you go.
But if it's on the Fire Stick, definitely catch it, and you know. But on the soundtrack, if you love 80s music, I know you're a bit young for it, but
no, I love it. Absolutely.
I like. It was just brilliant, you know, the soundtrack. I mean, like one of my favorite bands, the House Martins, even they had a song in it, and it's just bloody brilliant. So on an aside, All of Us Strangers is an excellent movie. Madam Web. That's what you get for having a girlfriend. Ha ha ha. Okay. On that note, which reminds me, you're going to see Madam Web on Wednesday then?
No, I'm not.
What are you going to be dragging? What do you? Well, I mean, it's Oscar season, so the good ones are in there.
There'll be something good to watch, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll enjoy it anyway, and we'll talk at the end of the week, maybe about the weekend's boxing. So, congratulations on your predictions, and yes, Stephen has the last word. The House Martins were brilliant. Yes, they were indeed. And happy hour again is now over. So slán go fóill agus feici mé ras ar an ina nó ar an sahar. Slán go fóill.
Slán.